Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Source and Company. I'm your host, Source, of course. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Smitty Source on both of those. You can also follow the show on Instagram under Source, the letters NCO podcast, the Source NCO podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube, Source and Company YouTube, Spotify channel, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, just all kinds of fun stuff. So jump on one or some of those things, and I appreciate you. And I want to give a quick shout out to Pixel Perfect Brewing out of Richmond, Virginia, RVA. They sent me this dope fresh brewed, home brewed can, and I'll never drink it, but I'm keeping this joint as a souvenir. I put it with my other special beers. The black is beautiful. So thank you to Pixel Perfect Brewing. You can follow them, Pixel Perfect Brewing, RVA on Instagram as well. All right, that's enough shouts for one episode. Today's company doesn't need a whole long list of accolades. Y'all see them. If you follow me, you know who it is. I do a sports podcast as well, Sports Ball Podcast, SBP, which is a group on Facebook as well. Join the group, SBP. We talk sports, hip hop, TV, movies, beer, and all kinds of stuff. And today's company is my homie and partner on the show, the actual host of the Sports Ball Podcast, Chris Sims. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's good, bro? How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. Can't complain. Another day in RVA, right?
Indeed.
It's a lot going on in the world, man. Stressful times between pandemic and treatment of Black people, of course, by the police, and just in general, and the things that we've seen happen over the last week, Jacob Blake and the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, and it's a lot going on, man. How you feeling mentally these days?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I know this is a very stressful time for a lot of people, stressful for myself as well. But I've tried to keep myself in the positive, removing a lot of the negative stuff, especially on social media, focusing on positive things. I removed myself from a lot of groups that I was a part of. Some of them I didn't even remember I was in, but on social media, looking and reading some of the comments. But it just focus on the positive stuff. So all in all, man, I'm doing good.
That's good to hear. We make it a point in the Sports Ball Podcast group to not talk about politics. And sometimes, people get mad because they want to say what they want to say, which is, normal. But we try to keep it the way we try to keep it, because we can talk about everything everywhere. Like, we can go anywhere. We can go to our personal pages. We can go argue with people on wherever, anywhere else on social media. So we try to keep the SBP, drama free, I guess. Does that sound fair?
Yes, indeed. And it's important that we do that too, man. It's important that we do that. You're dealing with, people from different walks of life, people with different beliefs. We're of the, sound mind that you can have a different belief and really not be a hateful person, disrupt others' lives. But we just try to keep everything positive. You're not going to always make everybody happy. Everybody's not going to always agree with your opinion. But one of the things we try to do to keep the group, rolling smoothly is to keep politics the best we can out of it.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard because, I like to talk about everything all the time. I always got an opinion on something controversial, but it's like once and it's hard because other people see it and they see you and they're like, well, you do this all day long. Like, this is what you do. Why we can't do it in here? But we're just trying to keep the peace and have this one spot where we can just coexist, enjoy sports, hip hop, and the things that we all seem to love.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and like I mentioned, you can join us in the Sports Ball Podcast group on Facebook, the SBP, and that's where we get down. Let's talk. Let's talk some. Well, I guess we can go straight to since we're already in this space. Let's just go to what has occurred over the past couple days. So you had the passing of Luke Olson, which was a coach of Arizona basketball back in the day. Cliff Robinson, who played at UConn and played in the NBA, most notably for me in Portland for the Trailblazers. And the very, very unexpected, untimely death of Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman, who played Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson. What am I missing?
James Brown.
James Brown, yes. And of course, T'Challa, King T'Challa, and Black Panther. I know you got some thoughts, being that you are a super comic book superhero head. I know you have some thoughts on Chadwick Boseman.
Well, yeah, first of all, rest in peace to all of them. All of them had a profound impact on me in one way or another. You know, watching Luke Olson do his thing over the years. I think he's one of 5 coaches that have had 20 straight 20 plus win seasons. Up there with Elite Company with Coach K and some of the other ones. Cliff Robinson, remember watching him playing most notably those playoff runs with Portland. But my man Chadwick Boseman, that cut deep, man. That cut deep with a lot of people, and you can tell just by looking at social media alone, by not only, you know, us blacks, just all races and nationalities, some of the things that I'm seeing across social media, which have been 99% positive. But let me tell you something about this, which is, I don't even want to use the word crazy, but just, I don't even know how to put it. So when he passes away, he passed away right on, which would have been Jackie Robinson Day. Of course, as you mentioned, he played Jackie Robinson, which is my youngest son, one of his favorite movies. That's something we'll always have, because I remember taking him to see that movie here at the theater and hoping it would have an impact on him. And years later, it has. He loves that movie. But also the Black Panther aspect of it. A lot of people, if you're not really deep in the comics, may not have known this. But he also passed away on the birthday of one of his co-creators, the great Jack Kirby, who helped create the Black Panther back in like '66, along with the great Stan Lee, which you know I'm very fond of him as well. So it's just crazy all the way around to hear of him passing right there on those days, man. It was just crazy.
Yeah, the fact that he had stage 3 colon cancer since 2016, if I am not mistaken. I hope I got that right. So he he appeared on set in countless movies, countless big movies, and nobody knew. I don't even understand. I don't understand how that's possible physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, I don't understand how that's possible. Like, that dude was from another planet. Like, like Wakanda for real.
Yeah. What was crazy was, now you would see certain photos, at least over the past year that I can remember, he would look kind of thin. And people kind of question, like, is he okay? And I remember seeing certain things. And I think people in his camp would kind of address it more or less as, you know, kind of his regimen so much, you know, certain ways he would eat and do certain things with his body. So, you know, they say that's what it was, and we kind of believed it. But then once you hear about this, some of those photos just kind of make sense, but you can understand why he would want to, you know, keep things as silent as possible, keep things personal as possible out in today's world. I mean, it's hard enough when you're not a celebrity, but then being a celebrity as well, and always doing interviews, always having a camera in your face, you know, it had to have been hard, man, but you can understand.
Absolutely. I saw where he said, well, somebody questioned in an interview, somebody had questioned his physique and just said his weight had been seemed to be going up and down, like he was doing something specific for the roles. And he said, man, like he said something to the idea of if I lived to tell the story, or one day I live to tell the story, or something like that. I was like, dang, like not that he knew, but he was. I mean, he was thinking about being able to tell his own story in the future, and unfortunately, we're just having to hear about it after he passed.
Yeah, it cuts deep, man, especially on the Black Panther aspect. Um, my absolute, along with Batman, of course, but my absolute favorite superhero ever. And I remember first seeing him as a kid. I even, matter of fact, true story. I think maybe I was in, I don't know, second, third grade, somewhere in there. I actually went trick or treating as Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I lost my mind when I found the costume because I was going to be Spider-Man, which I love too. A lot of people from my childhood know I was an avid Spider-Man guy, still am. But when I found the Black Panther costume, nobody's going to have this. I don't remember seeing anybody else with it. Not while I was trick-or-treating. But I remember years ago, maybe when I was in my teens, when they were talking about actually trying to do a movie. At the time, this is of course before Marvel Studios and superhero genre started to blow up, way before then. And at the time, I thought the perfect person would have been, I wanted Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes. I knew it.
Wesley Snipes to play the character. And they never got around to it. I guess back then it wasn't a big enough entity, which was odd because Wesley Snipes ends up later becoming Blade, which is another Marvel character, which he was excellent in that as well. So we go on all these years and we don't get this movie, so it gets pushed to the back burner. All these other things come out. Marvel has a long history about what happens and how we got to this point. But then when they finally decided there was going to be a movie and they cast him in one of the Avengers movies, I'll be honest, I wasn't quite sure if he was going to be able to pull that part off. I wasn't quite sure he was the guy. I knew it wasn't going to be Wesley anymore. Wesley's a lot older now, and some of the other guys I had in mind. But when he actually got to play that character, not just as the Black Panther, but we first saw him as T'Challa, because you see him as T'Challa first. I was amazed. I was amazed at the job that he did, and he will always be remembered for all of his great stuff. But his profound hand and love that he bestowed on the world playing that character will never be forgotten.
100, 100. I just read something last night where Angela Bassett, she did her tribute to him, and she said that he was the student at Howard when she got her, what is it called? When they gave her a degree from Howard.
Or
honorary degree, I believe it was, and he was the student that was assigned to her that day.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's crazy. And of course, we hear the stories of Denzel helping pay for students, and he happened to be one of those students.
And it was odd that you mentioned Angela Bassett, which is crazy. Of course, we know her character in the Black Panther movie as actually his mother. T'Challa's mother. But I tell this story all the time that years and years and years ago, before there was ever an X-Men movie, I actually wanted her to play Storm. So, and she would have been, anybody that knows anything about Storm from the comic books, she was perfect. A younger Angela Bassett was perfect to play Storm. But all in all, she ends up in the Black Panther movie as his mother. And know the rest of the story, but I just thought that was just interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. And shout out to my man Cheats who wrote an article the other day about the passing of Chadwick Boseman, and he included a clip from an interview where Chadwick was with Trevor Noah, and I just suggest check that article out and check that video out because it was a dope interview. I had never seen it before. Oh man, so you mentioned your childhood. We won't go through your whole childhood, but there is something to be said about your love of your high school. You are one of the few people, probably not few people, Probably, man, maybe a few people that like a lot of people go, you know, follow their high school. You are like definitely an LC Bird enthusiast, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the sports. Where did that come from? I love Manchester, Manchester, yeah, L4L, all that. But you go hard.
Just love my school, man. And it's you hit it on the nose about probably one of the few people because you hear people talk all the time about, okay, so I went to high school, I had a few good times, and I met some good people, and I moved on, right? Well, I can honestly say that probably those 4 years, for the most part, were probably four of the best years of my life, my young life. I mean, I had a lot of fun, man. I had a lot of fun, especially my senior year. I was one of those people that, you know, my last 3 or 4 months, I took pictures of everybody. I still got tons of photos from when we were in high school. I just genuinely had fun. It was a time when we were carefree. You do a lot of things, build lifelong friendships, and I just loved it. Plus, it doesn't hurt that my favorite color for a lot of reasons, but since I was a kid, is the color blue. So, our main color, there's a dark blue, then what we call a skyhawk blue, which if you don't know what skyhawk blue is, you don't need to know if you don't know, but we just know that we look good. So just because I generally had some of the best times of my life there, that I truly remember from the time when I just knew I was aspiring to be the greatest MC in the world. But just so many memories. But it's funny that you mentioned about so many people and how they feel about high school. They get out there done. My best friend growing up is actually my cousin. And so, I live probably about 30 minutes away from that school now. He still lives in our old neighborhood from the school, which is a little less than 10 minutes. He has not been back to the school since we graduated.
What?
So that tells you something. Through all the great things that have happened there, support, I would say maybe even his daughter going, but his daughter didn't go. His daughter didn't go at the time was there, so she was a little bit further up the street. So yeah, he has not been back to the school. And mind you, this is when if you ask some people, now I'm not saying this, we were sort of legendary. And there's some people that you and I know that will back that up. But he has not been back to that school since we graduated. So I can understand with some people, high school was high school. Some was fun. For me, it was the ultimate fun. And not to mention we've had a lot of success sports-wise as well over the years.
Wow. I'm amazed. Well, I guess I shouldn't be amazed. No, because he lives right there. And
he lives right down the street, bro.
Been a lot of good things that have happened, especially on the sports side.
Yeah.
Between, state championships, big name players, players that have made it to the NFL. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Blue.
That's crazy. So from Bird, you went on to college, graduated from BCU, and so was your love of sports already cemented from childhood?
Yes.
Did it grow? And the fact that you like to actually talk sports, give opinions, and like what we do, Sports Ball Podcast, where did that love come from?
The sports thing came back from probably as long as I can remember. I think you and I discussed it before. I saw my first Cowboy game when I was about 5 years old. I saw my first live Cowboy game. Yes, I was in the stadium, the original Texas Stadium at 5 years old. So not many can say that. So I'm not a bandwagon guy, like you guys like to call some Cowboy fans. And my first player that I ever was crazy about, which was a topic posted in the Sports Ball Podcast group this past week, was Tony Dorsett. Was my guy. So outside of watching him on TV, then we go outside in the yard and I'm trying to be Tony Dorsett, before I decided I wanted to play quarterback as well. So I thought I was the best backyard quarterback ever. but just being a sports fan and a sports lover, all through through childhood, through various playing sports for a while, going to some camps. Ultimately, though, I thought I wanted to be a rapper, so I kind of gave a lot of that stuff up to concentrate on trying to be an MC. But my love for sports as well as music and hip hop all stems from from the time I was probably about when I was just starting school.
What is we may have asked this in the group in SBP, what is the song, since you mentioned hip hop, what is the song that made you, not that made you listen to hip hop, that made you like cemented your love for hip hop?
And that's a tricky question for me because I think every time I get asked this question, I probably change my answer just a little bit because we're talking about love.
Mm-hmm.
So the only safe answer, or the truest answer that I can probably give you, because a lot of Run DMC comes to mind, all right, because they were flashy and they had fashion over the hats and all that. But I take it back even further and then tell you how old I am for the most part, but probably hearing Eighth Wonder by the Sugar Hill Gang. And of course, I know people say, nah, man, the message. I don't know what it was about, just it was the melody, the music. But I remember my uncle playing that around the house when I was younger, all the time. And it was just so catchy. So the safest answer I could probably give you would be Eighth Wonder. Did it make me fall in love with hip hop? Maybe, maybe not, but that kind of told me then that I wanted to rap. You know what I'm saying? So then right then, so then the Run DMC stuff and all that came, a little bit later.
And Run DMC to this day is your favorite group?
100, 1,000, matter of fact.
I had to at least say that's just so.
That'll never change.
Is there a second?
Is there a second group? I don't know if there is a second group. The closest thing I would probably give you, I don't know if there's a second group because I could honestly say, okay, it was Eric B and Rakim. They were a twosome. I could also easily say anybody that knows me, especially back in the 80s, I could say Boogie Down Productions, but really I'm talking about KRS-One because he and Scott LaRock really did one album together,
right, which
is one of my favorite. Criminal Minded is one of my go-tos, consistently. So I don't know, it's kind of hard. It's not a group that I love, but if there is a second, I don't know if there's a close second. I'll just say that.
Hey, that's fair enough. That just shows how much you love Run DMC, you revere Run DMC. So
sure.
So we talked a little sports. We'll get more into sports, but sports, hip hop. You got a favorite movie? Have we even talked about this before?
You and I have talked favorite sports movie, but I don't know if we've talked favorite movie overall.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, my favorite movie overall, just so we're all clear, is Friday. I don't care what y'all think. Friday is my favorite movie of all time, period.
We're just talking about favorite movies. Friday is definitely up there, but probably my favorite movie might be The Godfather, the first one. It may be The Godfather. Friday is definitely a close second. Now, you already know if we're talking sports movies, hands down for me, it's Friday Night Lights. Love that movie.
What was it about it? I guess that kind of speaks to your love of LC Bird football. Friday Night Lights. I mean, football is big in Texas. Football is huge. High school football is huge in Texas. Like college huge in Texas. So why Friday Night Lights?
Maybe it was just experiencing, not only loving high school football, but just experiencing it firsthand. I remember going to see the Dallas Cowboys play years ago, and we went down, had a long vacation. Game wasn't until Sunday. We happened to arrive at early on a Friday. So I remember asking the guy at the hotel, well, what's the thing to do around here? said, well, most people are going to be here, or you can go here, or you can go to, we got a couple of football games going on. And so we went to a high school football game. It wasn't, I can't think exactly where it was at this point. So many high schools down there. But we went to a high school game on a Friday night. It wasn't even a rivalry game. And there was like 20,000 people at the game. So I remember, and I knew it wasn't a rivalry game because I'm asking the guy, I think he had a kid or somebody that was playing, and he was like, I said, man, y'all do it big. We from Virginia, you know, blah, 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 you know, this, second, third. He says, nah, wait till we play Essex or Walk. Whatever the school that he named, that's going to be a game. You got to give you like 2 hours early. And I'm like, it's going to be more people than this. This is just a regular game. You know, so we went to a high school game with 20,000 people. So Friday Night Lights is just that atmosphere. It embodies everything about big time high school football. It embodies everything about the pressures these young athletes go through. It even embodies the behind the scenes stuff, the coach to the quarterback conversations and the feelings, and the coach going to the quarterback's home. And, you know, the pressures to make it to the next level, the home feeling, his player and his father not really having much in common, not much having much of a relationship. The only thing holding them together is the fact that the son went to the same high school as the father, which his father was a former state champion. The movie's just so real, man.
Respect. I can respect that. You mentioned going to the next level, and not obviously, but of course, we know that both of us are Florida State football fans, big Florida State football fans.
Word.
So I'm going to ask you this. I know you probably can't. We'll see. So you have these are Chris's favorite teams. I hope I don't miss anybody. So you got Florida State football, LC Bird, of course, as we just mentioned, the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Knicks. So sorry. The Atlanta Braves. Did I miss anybody?
Yes. Can't forget my lady. You know I'm all about the ladies, man. College.
Tennessee. Yes. Tennessee ladies. Okay. Now I know it's probably difficult on the fly to put these six in order of love. But I mean, me personally, I'm pretty sure your number one is the Dallas Cowboys. Like,
that's not even a question.
Okay, just so we're clear. If you had to take one away, you're not gonna do this, but if you had to take one away, you know those joints that had the 4 pictures and they always say one has to go away and all there, blah, blah, blah. Well, one of your teams has to go away. You got 6 of them. Which one goes?
Well, we're just going to have to fight because I'm not taking any of them out of there. So catch me outside.
I knew it. I already knew what it was going to be, but I had to at least try. I had to try. You know, I'm going to hold that against you later on in life. All right. So, you mentioned loving ladies hoops, man. You and I, another thing that you and I have in common, we both love women's basketball. I mean, both of us have been to numbers of women's basketball games, high school. We both love college, and we both love the WNBA.
Word.
Do you know, like, where your love of women's basketball came from?
Just because it was basketball, I guess. I can't really put a particular thing on actually when I started loving it. I've always watched it, even back when it would be on television and Cheryl Miller was playing, and you know, not that she was ever like, I can't say she was ever one of my favorite players, but she was basketball for a minute. I mean, she brought, you know, she helped bring the game to life and you know, to the awareness of a lot of people. But I think just because it was basketball, and I've always respected ladies, man. You know, they get a bad rap, you know, and especially a lot of groups on social media. You know, all 5 people were at the game or whatever, you know. And, you know, women get a bad rap, man. I think they compete. They may not always be as athletic as some of the men or seem to be as athletic, but a lot of them are skillfully sound. They play just as hard as the men. And to me, it's just very exciting. So I can't really pinpoint a time or where it came from, but that's why I just say just because it was basketball.
I used to love. I don't even know where it came from either. For me, I remember girls basketball in in middle school.
Hmm.
I played in middle school, and you had the
Yeah.
girls play in middle school, and especially in high school, playing boys, uh, knowing the girls.
Hmm.
I mean, one of my favorite classmates. We just ended up, being in a lot of classes together. Her name is Heather, and she played point guard, like I think JV and varsity at the same time that I did. So it was like an automatic kind of click. I was like, she was cool, it was good times. It was good times. So yeah, women's basketball, man. I understand when people say they don't dunk. I think my issue with people's opinions of it is like, why would you expect them to dunk? Why are you trying to compare the two? They're not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So it makes it, you know.
It's funny you said, funny you mentioned the name Heather because we actually had, one time I was in middle school and through high school, one of our better players was named Heather, Heather Brand
Oh yeah.
actually. And it made me, so part of it may have been, it's funny you said that. I remember being in middle school and I remember, shout out to Coach Williams. Coach Williams used to actually sometimes make us watch the girls practice sometimes, for about a half hour or whatever, to try to not only support them, but maybe to pull some things from their game. So just came to mind when you said that you brought up middle school and you brought up the name Heather. So, and our girl Heather Brand, shout out to her. She's armed forces as well. Shout out to her. She was one of the better players in the area back in that time period as well.
That's wild.
Middle school and high school, I should say.
Yeah, man. So what else we got? Oh man. Well, Tennessee, obviously. You're
Mhm.
a Tennessee guy. And tell the people who you're just last point on WNBA. Tell the people who your favorite WNBA player is.
Are you talking about wifey?
Yeah,
Oh, Candace
she in the
Parker,
background somewhere.
CP3 all day. And since you gave me this platform, I would just like to say, especially in the Sports Bar Podcast group, I love y'all, but I'm gonna need y'all to stop claiming her. Or none of y'all watching her in high school. None of you were watching her at Tennessee unless maybe they ended up on television against UConn. Okay, so bandwagon riders. That's the truth. Forget all that stuff y'all talk about the Dallas Cowboys. When come to CP3, 99.9% of y'all are bandwagon riders. I've been with her for the long haul, so there it is.
Mm. And I'm gonna make sure we slide this to her. I need her to see this. I need her to see this.
All day.
Oh man, yeah. SBP always we always talk, sports in general. We talk the WNBA. We talk a lot of things though, Prime, and we have the Sports Bar Podcast show. Excuse me, the SBP that we do on a regular basis. So we always talk sports, but more recently we've started doing some other avenues. One of them is Source Battles Prime. So it's SBP, Source Battles Prime, but still the Sports Bar Podcast. Basically, it comes from the idea of the versus battles that have been going on since we've been in quarantine, since the pandemic hit and all that. And the idea was so great. Obviously, they're not going to get to everybody who we would love to see. So you and I took it upon ourselves to start doing some smaller battles, just 10 songs. Versus battles are set for 20. We do 10 songs a piece and run it with some of our favorite artists, right?
Indeed. And it's been fun. It's been fun. We've had battles what we've had so far. We've had Jay-Z and Nas. We've had that battle. We've done Run DMC versus Try, of course, my favorite group versus your favorite group. We've had that go on. We just recently did Outkast versus Outkast because that is really the only way to go when we're talking about Outkast, arguably the greatest hip hop group of all time. And we've got, and am I forgetting any of them? Is that the ones we've done so far?
Big and Pop.
We did Big and Pop. We did Big and Pop as well, and that was fun. That was definitely fun. And we got more to come, man. That was actually your idea. I thought about it once or twice, but never really rolled with it. That was your idea. This turned out to be like fun, something to really look forward to.
Yeah. Anything, hip hop related where we can go back. Like it, nobody could watch for all I care. It's still fun because we're digging through music that we may not have listened to in a minute, or picking out different songs that we may not have listened to, and just showing appreciation for them. So just doing it in general is fun to me.
For sure. I always look forward to them, man. So sooner or later we got to figure out what's up next, but that's definitely fun.
Yeah. We also do the throwback movie segment, which is called Run It Back, where you came to me with the idea of let's review some old movies. Let's review some old classics. And man, that's fun as well. That's what we gotta get to next for real.
Yeah, we're gonna actually do something probably within the next week, for sure. I think we got an idea of what we're gonna do on the next one, but that's my baby right there. And I love Running Back because it's like a lot of folks, even pre-quarantine, I'm a TV guy and a movie watcher. And I came up with the idea of really wanting to do this because I listen to a lot of podcasts. It's not just about us. To get through my day, as you know, my day starts early. And so how I get through my mornings a lot of times is various podcasts that I like to listen to as I'm going about things. And even after my day is going, I have a lot of office work to do with things after a podcast. But I ran across, and I can't even remember the name of it right offhand because they don't even do it anymore. But I ran across a podcast that was focusing on mob and gangster movies and TV shows. I was like, why did I never catch this?
Mm.
And so I started listening to a few episodes, and after a while, I saw something on there about The Sopranos. So there was a group that was going back, and they just did a podcast based on The Sopranos TV series. And then next up, I look, and then Van Lathan and Jamel Hill get a platform with Bill Simmons on the Ringer to start redoing Way Down in the Hole, which is about The Wire. And and listening to these, I kind of came up with the idea, this is something that I want to do. But I don't really want to focus just on television series. We can do movies, because it'll take a while to really break down a TV series episode by episode.
Yeah.
But we've got so many great movies, sports-wise, non-sports-wise, that people love, or people have seen, or may have never seen, that we like to revisit. So I was like, wow, I came to you with the ideas. What you think about this, man? We'll call it Run It Back. You were on with it immediately, man, and that's been a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, man, that joint, because every time we do one, whether I watch the movie, semi-recently or not, I find the movie and I watch it the night before we do the episode. And man, just watching The Bronx Tale was fun for me. I really enjoyed watching that and seeing some different things from a different angle at this point. And I've seen that a bunch of times anyway. Above the Rim, which is classic, and it's sports related, and it's Tupac in the joint, so it's hip hop, sports, it's everything.
Yeah, my favorite was probably Love and Basketball so far, and we've had guests. Shout out to Kim Clark. She was our guest on that show. She did an excellent job. She came on with us and gave some great commentary. But that was, out of all of them we've done, and all of them were fun to me, that's probably my favorite, because I got to go back and watch a movie that I've seen tons and tons of time, and still was able to pick out some things that I never caught, or some things that, they were a little different to me than they were the first time that I saw it. So
definitely. And shout out to Daryl Love as well, who came on with us for Above the Rim.
Above the Rim.
Never seen before. And sometimes, we look back, we're like, yeah, people that are younger than us, maybe 10, 15 years, we'll be like, how have you never seen this movie before? But just like a discussion. Actually, when I was on Spike Punch last week, the young lady was saying she didn't know a lot about KRS-One,
Mm.
talking about LL versus KRS-One. And I was like, it's understandable because she's young. So I can't expect her to have memories and love of KRS-One the same way that we do as we revere, somebody like KRS-One.
True. True
So
indeed.
yeah, and we did Friday. What am I forgetting? But no,
Oh, Chicago, we just did
Juice.
yeah, did Juice. We had Tupac again, Omar Epps, you know. That was fun. That was really fun too.
Shout out Cuzzo, Brandon. That's B Man. DJ. Well, B Man, no DJ
No
actually.
DJ.
Dope DJ down in the Charlotte area. So if you're out there, you know the name. Yeah, man. So we got Running Back, uh, Source Battles Prime, and the regular show, and they all fall under the SBP umbrella anyway. And you sometimes like to rant. You like to rant on things. Less recently, but more a lot during football season specifically.
Yeah.
SBP ish.
SBP ish. And I think if you think about it, if you don't know what ish stands for, you can figure it out. So, but yeah, that's coming back. That's coming back. I haven't done one in a minute. And it's not been a whole lot to rant on because we really hadn't had a whole lot of sports here until recently. And I think I'm going to expand it a little bit, probably into just about everything that we talk about now. So there may be a hip hop rant in there, and there could be a TV rant in there. So, but definitely the sports rants are coming back. We're right in the middle of basketball and baseball again, and we have NFL and some college, but NFL on the horizon here in just a few days. So SBP-ish will be coming back to you very soon.
Bruh, you just mentioned the NFL is around the corner. How is the NFL around the corner, man? I feel so crazy right now. I have zero, hard to say zero, but I have zero interest in talking football, generally speaking, at this point. And by now, the NFL starts next week. By now, we are usually, we run down every team or almost done with doing previews of every team.
Oh, yeah.
We've been watching preseason games and all that for the last couple of weeks normally. Now those aren't things, and we've been focused on basketball. We got NBA, WNBA, and MLB, like you just mentioned. How are you feeling about football at this point? Because I'm like, okay, football started.
Just can't believe that football is, 2 weeks away? A little less than 2 weeks away, maybe. It's crazy. Like the buzz is not in the air, and by now, usually we're hyped. You're seeing everybody in the streets with their, favorite gear on. I mean, you may go to the grocery store now and catch someone out there with with their team hat on. You might catch one or two people in NFL gear, but it's not at the same level or magnitude that we're used to seeing. I was just telling you, it's now like I may go to a gas station or a 7-Eleven and I walk in there and usually they have those team mugs and little flags and stickers and all that stuff like right near the front or near the register. And I usually will look through this stuff to see if I wanted to grab one. I make my purchase. Now they may have those things in there, but to this point, I've only walked in, tell them $20 on pump full, pay for my coffee and walk out. It's the level, the intensity, after all that we've been through, these past few months, it's kind of put a damper on things just a little bit. And now we're hearing that for the first couple of weeks, most teams, or maybe all teams, may not have any players in the stands. And it's going to be real interesting. This is going to be very, very interesting. But football is definitely not as much in the air as we're used to having it in the air 2 weeks out.
Yeah, man. Especially thinking. I mean, we think back. 7 months? It's not even 7 months. We had the Super Bowl. We had Kansas City with the big comeback against San Francisco. Patrick Mahomes having another great season and kind of elevating to that status where I say we expected him to be eventually, but I can say you specifically expected him to be because you were a big fan of Patrick Mahomes coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
you were big on Kansas City when they jumped up to get him.
Yeah, I am, like I say, if you check my credentials, I am the president of the non-Kansas City Chief fan, Patrick Mahomes fan club. I am acting president. I'm also the founder of the whole program. And so I am anxious to see what he can do again this year. Can he duplicate what we saw last year? Can the team do that? But the overall feel of the game is that I guess the biggest hype we've had, to be honest with you, so far is just the fact that Madden came out about 2 days ago. Lamar Jackson's on the cover. And that's been just about all the hype.
See my face?
Yeah.
No idea man came out. No clue. And people that have known me for at least 10 years, and maybe further back than that, know that I was one of those Madden junkies. I've been a Madden junkie since 92, 93.
Yeah.
Whenever Madden dropped, we've been on Madden since then. And in the last 5 to 7 years, I kind of put it to the side. I stopped playing. But I was a Madden dude, and I still pay attention. I still know when it comes out. I had no idea it just came out.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. And actually about 5 or 6 days ago, if you're one of those cats that go hard and had early access. But he actually hit the stores 2 days ago.
Wow. Sheesh. Any NBA thoughts? You got who you got winning this joint?
Well, I had the Clippers winning it all. I'm not 100% sure of that right now, but I had the Clippers winning it all. But let me say that while I picked the Clippers to win it, I'm actually rooting for your guys for a lot of reasons. No, it's a lot of reasons. First, I like LeBron James. We've been talking about that for years. There's also, the Kobe aspect to it, winning it this year. So I'm actually rooting for the Lakers to win it, but my pick was the LA Clippers.
And my oldest daughter, Kelsey, posted a picture late Friday night, early Saturday morning, of Chadwick Boseman and Kobe together. That joy hit me like, pow. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. 2020 has been quite the year.
Indeed.
Oh, man. Any thoughts on the boycott, or actually how the players have handled the boycott? We're past that at this point, obviously. But yeah, how did you respond to that?
I think it was positive. I think they accomplished part of what they wanted to accomplish. That's just to continue to attempt to bring awareness to everything that's going on, especially with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was truly positive. Now, of course, you're going to get folks that don't agree, and at this point, I could care less. And I'm seeing more and more posts about, oh, well, if the NFL does this or whatever, of course, I won't be watching. Who cares? I don't care. Most people don't care. Okay, if all you folks posting, you stop watching the NBA, you're not going to watch the NFL. One of the few groups or team sites that I'm still in. I saw some people post on the Tennessee Lady Vols page because they were united as a team, coach included, out having a peaceful protest and out there supporting the Oaks. Oh, well, I'm not going to watch. Who cares? And then I'm no fool, man. No fool. 75, 80% of the people who said it's on here fronting on social media, they're not going to watch. They're going to watch. And they're going to watch. Okay. It may change their mind about spending money to travel to see their team play some. Most of these people are still going to watch. And there are going to be people that are going to, the first 2 or 3 weeks, that may stand strong for a minute. And after a while, we get to a whole season, they're going to watch. So shout out to the players. Shout out to everybody doing what they believe in, talking about what they believe in, standing up for what they believe in. And now it's just all about, what's the next step?
I'm gonna give a shout real quick to my friend Tanya. She was mad, not mad, but she kind of critiqued the players. Why they boycotting? And what is one game gonna do? Blah blah blah. And then she saw what happened and what they were able to accomplish, and she actually posted a retraction of her statement and applauded them. So most people are not going to do that. People say stuff, and then once it's found out to be their statement found out to be wrong or untrue or whatever, they're not going to come back and recant. So I had to give her a shout out for at least being, big enough to do so.
What's funny to me? I actually think that some of these people that are out with the negative comments and don't support, it's your right to do or not do whatever it is that you please, right? But I wonder sometimes do they think that it's really hurting, any of us regular people just because you're not going to watch it. First of all, look, not that I'm going to be out in, I stay in a sports bar. I'm probably not as much this year, but that's just more seats. If you decide to stay home, that's just more seats because it's already going to be limited inside some of these spots anyway due to COVID rules, right?
Right.
That's just more seats available for those of us who are still going to come out and watch. And you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you at home and your wife don't want you to watch no more because she wants to turn the lights on. Well, that's your life. But as for me and mine, we will have the NFL on the television set. Period. So.
Indeed. Oh man, I appreciate you joining me, Prime. You got any last words for the people, man?
Nah, man, just stay positive. Stay positive. Keep on doing what you believe in. And hey, surround yourself with positive people, man. And make sure you catch us, like Source always says, catch us on these Sports Bar podcasts, SVP. Join the Facebook group. If you want a group where there's no politics, and we talk, like he said, we talk sports, hip hop, television, movies. We drink a little beer for the beer lovers out there. Mike said he's not gonna open that one, so I gotta find somebody to tell me how that tastes. And we might venture off into whatever else we want to talk about at times, man. But we would love to have you and bring your friends along as well. It's a good positive conversation, fantasy talk, playing, all that good stuff.
Yeah, we got to get back to that FanDuel too.
Oh yeah, can't wait.
Yes, indeed. Once again, Source here. Thank you to Chris Sims for joining me today. You'll be able to catch us on social media or with the podcasts, plural, coming up real soon, all right? As always, Black is beautiful. Out here.